This is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. I was recently having a discussion about the nature of vocation and work with one of my students. It was really fascinating. I am going to talk to you all today really about the socializing aspect of work. Not the socialistic, the socializing aspect of the world of work. I boarded a bus with about six students. We were headed down to D.C. for a conference, and I used that 4-hour bus ride trip as an opportunity to really sort of check in on some of the students. So I called this one student over and had him sit down, and I have a plan, right? A 4-hour trip, right? So I'm about to dig into your life because you're stuck on this bus for 4 hours, okay? So we begin to talk, and he's telling me about this fantastic, the opportunity to be an intern in a major firm here in the city doing mergers and acquisitions. And I began to ask him, why is it that you wanted to do this? Why do you love it so much? And he was saying, it's fun, it's interesting. These are men and women that I respect greatly. The type of work that they do, it's exciting, it's exhilarating. And I kept asking him, why do you care? And he said, these people are very well respected, and I'm just excited. I mean, this is just really fun. And I kept asking him, but why do you care about mergers and acquisitions? And he kept saying, because it's fun, and I enjoy it. And then I got really sad. Not because mergers and acquisitions aren't fun, because I'm sure for some people they are. But I got really sad because here was a very competent student, very intelligent student, who I just looked and said, he doesn't really get it. He doesn't see that, in fact, that type of work, this vocation, this interest that he has in mergers and acquisitions is actually a part of a larger story, a larger narrative. There's a social dimension to his future vocation that he was missing out on understanding and seeing. And this is what I want to really focus on with my minutes with you all today, that there is a social dimension to the world of work that hinges on your success. See, the student was missing out on an opportunity to see that his work was a way of spreading God's shalom. Here's what I mean. Cornelius Plantinga explains it this way. He says, in the Bible, shalom means universal flourishing, wholeness, and delight. A rich state of affairs in which natural needs are satisfied and natural gifts fruitfully employed. That inspires joyful wonder as its creator and savior opens doors and welcomes the creatures in whom he delights. This is what the student didn't get, is that the idea of his work is aimed at the universal flourishing and wholeness and delight of and by people made in the image and likeness of God. God's glory is unleashed in the world when those made in his image and likeness are free to participate in the vocations that dance to the rhythm of shalom. So after several minutes of listening to the virtues of acquisitions, I just stopped him and I asked him this question. I said, do you realize that there are real people at the end of those decisions? Do you realize that there are people's lives who are affected when you and your team shift numbers on a spreadsheet? There are real people's lives at the end of that. There are families, there are individuals who will be making different decisions because of your decisions. Someone may not be going to college, or someone may lose a house. That there are real people's lives affected by the decisions that you're making. In fact, being in the business of mergers and acquisitions, what you're doing is exercising stewardship. You are helping the marketplace be more efficient. be better at the using of God's resources. And he just sat there and he looked at me, actually looked down, and he said, I never really thought about that before. And I began to wonder, how is it that he could be sort of in this community and not think about the fact that what he was seeing on his computer screen were actually connected to real people's lives. So honestly, I was encouraged by challenging him and pushing him to see that all that he was about, all that this vocation was about, his entire future is really committed to the spreading of God's shalom. I mean, this is what it means to bring glory to God. Now, undoubtedly, you've heard this weekend about work as a place where individuals flourish. It's a place where humans can engage their callings and vocations. They use their reason and their intellect, their creativity. They get to exercise and habituate virtues like courage and perseverance and restraint. But there is so much more. There is so much more. The Christian tradition explains it this way. In a way, work is a condition for making it possible to start a family. Since the family requires the means of subsistence which human beings normally gain through work and industriousness also influence the whole process of education in the family, for the very reason that everyone becomes a human being through, among other things, work. Becoming a human being is precisely the main purpose of the whole process of education. So two aspects of work the tradition teaches operates when these two things come into play. On the one hand, making family life possible and allowing families to sustain themselves is one aspect of the beauty of work. And the other is making possible the achievement and the purposes of family through education. I wonder if we really understand that so much of what we do is ultimately so that families can flourish. Why is this important? Because for centuries, Christians have believed that the family is simultaneously a community made possible by work and is the first school of work within the home for every person. Without work, we cannot have sustainable families, and without sustainable families, society collapses. We need innovative entrepreneurs because without them, no society can have flourishing family life. You see, when work disappears, so does family. The world of work creates a context in which social shalom is unveiled and released. Society flourishes because of the cumulative, historical, and social incarnation of the work from previous generations. The social incarnation of the results of our work combines our deepest human identity with our neighbors and with our communities and with our nations. And so we seek to excel in work for the service of other people, for the purpose of flourishing the common good. Now, what happens in America is that we tend to individualize the world of work. We speak in terms of work and how it affects individuals and how they become more human individually. Now, while that's true, there's something even more important. The individualizing aspect of work is secondary, if not tertiary, because what really matters is thinking about the fact that what it means to be human has nothing to do with us as individuals. That the image of God is only expressed corporately together. Herman Bavinck, my favorite dead white theologian, says it this way. Not the man alone, not the man and the woman together, But the whole of humanity is the fully developed image of God. His children, his offspring, the image of God is much too rich for it to be fully realized in a single human being. However richly gifted that individual may be, it can only be somewhat unfolded in its depth and riches in a harmony whose members exist successively, one after another, contemporaneously, side by side. Humanity, Bavinck argues, is the image and likeness of God, belonging to that humanity and also its development, its history, its ever-expanding dominion over the earth, its progress in art and in science and art, its subjugation of all creatures. This is the image of God. So we cannot talk about humanizing work if the goal is not to see more and more people working. Work is humanized as a corporate activity, not an individual one, because the image of God is not about individuals. The image of God is about all of us. So work is at the service of the whole human family. It is at the service of social shalom, and we covet, we long for ways to bring more and more people into that. Work is not about my identity, and it is not about yours. It is about the whole of humanity developing into this image. So this is one of the reasons why unemployment can have such a devastating effect on one's sense of meaning and purpose. You see, we are hardwired to express the image of God in our work together with others. It is one of the ways in which we get a sense of belonging and make meaning. So making things and painting things and growing things and sewing people, repairing people's bodies, and all of those things that we do, these are all activities that are one major aspect of the corporality of what it means to be made in the image and likeness of God and to have this sense of being social and corporate together. So unemployment marginalizes us from not only the labor force, but it actually marginalizes us from being human. So it should come as no surprise that suicide rates increase with unemployment. See, work allows us to be human in a new way, and it really doesn't matter how the effects of the fall have damaged us. Work is still important regardless. Let me give you an example of what this means. We cannot be human without other people, and the world of work provides a context in which we can do this together. So for me, and some of my friends who are deep in the Christian tradition, in terms of social ethics, one of the markers of organizations and institutions that understand the humanizing corporate function of work are those organizations that employ disabled people. See, when I walk into a church or a business or a nonprofit, I'm looking for men and women who are disabled who are actually working there. That's a signal to me that they understand and they get it. They get that work is humanizing because they're disabled people working around them. The Christian tradition teaches that those who are disabled are fully human subjects with corresponding innate, sacred, and inviolable rights. And in spite of the limitations and sufferings affecting their bodies and faculties, they point up more clearly to the dignity and greatness of the human person. And they call us to invite them into the corporate experience of being made in the image and likeness of God. So as the tradition teaches, since disabled people bear the image of God, they should be helped to participate in the life of society and in all aspects and in all levels accessible to their capacities. The disabled person is one of us and participates fully in the same humanity that we possess. It would be radically unworthy of humans and a denial of our common humanity to admit to the life of community and the life of work only those who are fully functional. See, this is what sets Christian organizations apart, is that they understand that work has such a humanizing aspect that the disabled people, those whose faculties have been damaged by the fall, that we bring them in. So the tradition really focuses on understanding that the corporate image of God means that we bring people and we take risks with people who are broken. If you go up to Fordham University's library, once you walk, this is at the Rose Hill campus in the Bronx, you walk in the library, make a left, go back into a room where you make photocopies. You'll see a man who is partially disfigured. His right arm doesn't work very well. He can barely walk. His face is a bit contorted. And he is there every day working, helping students make copies. And you might ask, why would this institution, a library, hire someone who is disabled and not working? It's because by inviting him in, we allow him to participate in this humanizing activity with the rest of us. And it sends a witness, it bears witness to the fact that this is exactly what God did to us. God took us in our disabilities, and he put us in a place where we can make contributions to the common good. And so we open up opportunities to do that for others. I look for the disabled people. That's a signal that the organization, that the company, that the nonprofit, that the church actually gets it. When you walk into a church, you should see some disabled people at work. If you don't, the church might not understand what work is about. So the calling to be in the business of bringing people into work is a high calling. This is an aspect of us sharing in the ongoing creativity of God's work here and now. We share in that activity, the ongoing creative activity of the Creator. We share in that activity. We collaborate in that activity with God himself. And we create more and more opportunities for more and more people to also to participate and collaborate in that very work. So the Christian tradition teaches that our sweat and toil, it says, which work necessarily involves, presents the Christian and anyone who is in union with Christ, who follows Christ, with the possibility of sharing lovingly the work that Christ came to do. By enduring the toil of our work in union with Christ crucified for us in a profoundly mysterious way, we collaborate with the Son of God for the redemption of humanity and the whole creation. So the world is waiting. The world is waiting for a group of men and women who so understand the nature of work and its humanizing capacity that they seek to bring more and more people into the implications of this social shalom. Your callings are huge. If you fail, we are doomed. So may you, in all of your vocations, in all of your sectors, in all of your spaces, with great passion and innovation and creativity, do whatever is necessary relative to your giftedness and opportunities to do all that you can to bring more and more people into the humanizing aspect that is called work. Thank you very much.